comic friends? It's Ryan the Colossus Collector, and thank you once again for stopping by my channel. So, just at the tail end of 2024, I got a great opportunity to do a little trade, half buy, to upgrade some big X-Men keys in my collection. This is motivated out of sort of a new philosophy, a new goal, you could say, I have laid out for myself over the last year or so. They always say in collecting, your tastes change, your things you like can evolve. I definitely evolved a little bit. Evolved to have a little bit more of a discerning eye, a little bit more of a, I guess, champagne taste. When it comes to certain comics. That said, I respect the philosophy that is low grade is better than no grade. And I do think that certainly still applies to aspects of my collecting journey. You know, my X-Men 1 is only a 1/8. And for me, the most important thing with a book like that is it displays well. It displays way better than a 1/8. It's one of the better 1/8s I've ever seen when it comes to that grade. That was important to me. The more expensive, the older the book is, where I really start to feel like, that philosophy rings true more to me, because there's just a certain level of book that I'm either willing to buy or can afford, right? So like those real monster keys, like just being able to have a X-Men #1 or an AF-15 in any grade whatsoever would be, that's just fine with me. I'm totally good with it. But as I've also learned more about comics, I've really sort of started to learn, Bronze Age, the Bronze Age in particular, and up. They're less rare and scarce. There's a lot out there. You look at a Hulk 181, like you can never not find a Hulk 181. You might not find the price you want, you might not find the grade you want, but there is an abundance of Hulk 181s out there. And that really goes for a lot of the Bronze Age keys, the Bronze Age runs. And I just kind of come around on the thought that, like, if I'm really going to collect these books, I want them to be at a certain level of grade where I feel like they're a better investment. They present really well. And if it's in my power and my budget and my affordability to collect in a higher grade, I want to do that. So I've kind of made a long-term goal. This isn't a 2025 goal by any means. It's more of a long-term outlook on my collection and where it's going to go from here on out. But everything Bronze Age and higher, I have now kind of put in a bit of a, it has to be high grade. It has to be preferably an 8.0 or higher. On certain occasions, I like if it was a giant size X-Men or a Hulk 181, I could probably be okay with a 7.5, but like nothing below a 7.5. That doesn't mean you have a 7.0 of a book. I'm still very, very appreciative of these big keys in any grade, or in really any book in any grade. But for my collection, my future long-term collecting goals, I want to get these Bronze Age books in that 8.0 or higher, some 7.5s potentially. But if I can, 8.0 or higher. So that's just something I've decided and I'm moving forward with. Of course, I have plenty of books that are under that in my collection, and so that has kind of made me also think about, well, do I want to get rid of certain books to move into other books? That's certainly on the table. And definitely, do I want to move these books to upgrade them? And that is 100% on the table. That is part of this ongoing goal. So at the very end of this year, like I said, I had the opportunity to do my first trade slash buy. I guess it's not a pure trade, but it was a trade plus money to seal the deal on 3 books, to upgrade 3 books in my X-Men run, which is the most important thing and the thing I want to work on the most. I don't want to give up any X-Men books unless I'm upgrading them. I want to keep that run intact that I have built. So that's not, that run and X-Men books are not a scenario where I would get rid of a 6.5 with the idea that I'm going to eventually upgrade it down the line. I want to keep that 6.5 until I can upgrade it. So that's what happened here. I was able to flip 3 books to upgrade each of those 3 books. And this was all made possible by my friend Aaron from A1's Comic Stash. Aaron and I connected this past year on a few little things, and he is a big X-Men guy. He's a seller, but also a big X-Men collector, and he sells a lot of X-Men books, and he's always got X-Men books up on his IG feed. So if you want a great buyer, he's on the West Coast too. So if you're on the West Coast of the U.S. or Canada, he's an even better option to buy from. But from anywhere, he'll work with you on shipping and on prices and deals. He's a great seller. And he worked out this trade for me where I could upgrade my 3 big X-Men keys in the Bronze Age. I would say 3 of the biggest X-Men keys outside of the giant size X-Men. So let's take a look at the upgrades now. So this first slab in this first book that I upgraded, I actually traded away one of the first slabs I ever got. It was maybe the second or third slab book I've ever bought since getting back into comics in the last number of years, and that is X-Men 129 in a 9.0. The 9.0 is the upgrade. It was previously a 7.0. This is, of course, is a triple key, triple first appearance. First appearance of Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, first appearance of Emma Frost, and the first appearance of Sebastian Shaw. Part of the Dark Phoenix saga, and just a really great Colossus cover. So it really checks a lot of boxes off for me. I'm a big fan of this book. That's why it was one of the first slabs I ever bought, one of the first keys I ever bought. And it was time to finally upgrade this book into that threshold of 8.0 and above, and get this 9.0 129. Really excited to upgrade this book, and I'm not saying I'll never upgrade this book even higher, but now I'm really just content with the level it's at, and it really elevates my Uncanny run to a much higher standard for the future. So really excited to get this 129 in a 9.0 from Aaron. So the next 2 are even bigger keys, and we're going to kind of work our way down in numbers. So this book I previously had in a 6.5, and it was X-Men 101. Iconic Dave Cockrum cover, and I upgraded this as well to a 9.0. So a nice jump from a 6.5 to a 9.0 to get this absolutely epic, one of the most iconic X-Men covers of all time. First appearance of the Phoenix, and like I said, iconic Dave Cockrum cover art and interior art, and of course Chris Claremont legendary book. And one of the early X-Men Claremont run keys. Definitely, I would say the 3rd biggest key in the Bronze Age, I think. Yeah, I think so. I think that this would probably be that the third biggest key of the Uncanny X-Men era. So really happy to get this in a 9.0 again. Another upgrade. Don't have to worry about this book for a long time. Maybe one day I upgrade it, but very, very happy with a 9.0. So finally, we come to the biggest book out of these three upgrades. I got this one towards the end of 2023. I actually got it in an old CGC case, and then got it reholdered at CGC with a custom X-Men label, and it was in the 7.0, but the opportunity to upgrade this a few bumps, get it into that 8.0 plus threshold was a really great opportunity. And that book was X-Men 94, and I upgraded it to an 8.5 regular label, but I'm okay. I'm actually, I like the custom labels, but I prefer when they're a little bit more to the era of the book. And that custom label I had before was that classic Jim Lee X-Men 1 label, which, I mean, works and it was great, but I would much prefer like a Cockrum Claremont era label on a Cockrum Claremont era book. So not the end of the world to change it out to a regular label. And I got it originally because I just thought it would be cool to get a custom label in the collection, and they didn't unfortunately have a Cockrum Claremont era label at the time or even to this day. So I'm really okay with just going back to a regular blue label, but getting that 8.5, which is a huge grade, high number for such a big book in the Bronze Age. Definitely, and I mean, for a long time, this one was actually the big key, and then at some point over time in history, Giant Size kind of surpassed it, which makes sense. Giant Size is the first appearance of all the new X-Men for the most part. This is now their second appearance, but second appearance of Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler, Thunderbird, and it's also the first official issue Chris Claremont's on and wrote independently, and it kicks off this unimaginably legendary era of X-Men, and such a huge, important book. And now I got it in an 8.5. Can't complain about that. So I'm really happy about these three upgrades. Again, I said this goal to move into that 8.0 plus threshold was kind of a long-term play. I wasn't thinking this was going to happen quickly, but it's happening faster than I thought with opportunities like this one that came up. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do in this year. Just see what comes my way, and hopefully be able to do things like this where I can upgrade big books or just get books I maybe didn't plan on getting, but they're awesome deals and awesome books to get into the collection. So I'm excited to kick the new year off with this really great upgrade of some awesome major X-Men, Uncanny X-Men keys, and gonna look great on the wall. Gonna be probably a while before I upgrade the GSX, but you never know. You never know what comes your way. So big thank you to Aaron at A1's Comic Stash. Again, if you don't already follow him on Instagram, please give him a follow. He's got a great logo. Not gonna lie, might have helped him out with that, and he's got an awesome neon version of it, which is really, really cool too. Anyways, follow Aaron at A1's Comic Stash, and hopefully you could get some great books from him in the future. Shout out to Aaron. And if you liked this video, maybe you'd like to check out my 2024 year recap video, and then my 2025 outlook video on my comic year to come in 2025. So until next time, keep collecting.